It is I, Nelson Dellis. I don't have to say it. You know it. 4-time memory champ. Yeah, not 5-time, 4-time. All right, so today we're talking about how to solve a 2x2 Rubik's Cube.
Blindfolded.
Now there's tons of tutorials on the YouTube. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube that are great. I am not a professional cuber by any means, so I probably don't have any clout when it comes to explaining how to do this, but where I probably have some helpful tips is how to do it blindfolded, which is all about memory. I'm gonna talk about a few things. Obviously, one is how to do it, but before we go any further, I need the viewers, you guys, to know a little bit about how the cube works and how to hopefully solve it just regularly. As a prerequisite, I want you guys to know just kind of how to visualize the cube in your head. So when you move pieces and you make moves, you really kind of understand what's going on with the cube. I'm gonna try to give as many simple tips as possible, but in the case that I suck, and in the case that this isn't a very good tutorial because I'm not a cuber, I'm just giving you that warning. So you can go elsewhere and then hopefully come back, and hopefully then my tips will be helpful. What I want you to know about the cube, obviously, is that there are 6 faces and that they are all different colors. Some cubes have different colored stickers. I like to have the white on top, the yellow on the bottom, the green facing me, usually like this, okay, the blue in the back, and then orange left and the red right. So for you, if you're looking at this cube, solving it in your hands, right? You have the green facing you, the white on top, blue in the back, orange to the left and red to the right, and yellow on the bottom. Now, the next thing is the nomenclature for the different sides and how to learn algorithms. Algorithm is just a fancy word. We're saying the instructions of what you should turn in what order and how many times and whatever. Basically how it works is this top face, the white, if you turn that, it's U for up. If you rotate the bottom one, that's D for down. If you rotate the back one, this one, that's B. If you rotate F, the front, that's this one. If you rotate L, that's the left, that's this guy. And if you rotate R, that's this one. So you'll see algorithms that look like this that mean basically in that order, turn these in sequence. Now you'll notice some of them have little dashes there. Those are, I call them prime. And basically, if it doesn't have the prime, you're gonna turn that face clockwise. If it has the little prime, little mark there, you're gonna do it anti-clockwise, counterclockwise. Actually, only one algorithm to be able to solve this. One algorithm to rule them all. So on one hand, you have to be able to remember that algorithm and know it with your eyes closed. But then you also need to have some code to remember so that you know where to put the pieces when your eyes are closed. So there's 2 pieces of memorization there. One is the algorithm, which I'll teach you, and second is the actual, you're given a scrambled cube and you have to memorize that before you solve it. Okay, first let's start with the algorithm that you need to know. And all it is something called a Y perm, which stands for a Y permutation. Why the Y? I don't know, because it looks like a Y when you do it, I guess. Basically what it does is it swaps 2 pieces, if it's facing you, this sticker and this sticker that points out here. So these 2 will be swapped. Nothing else will be changed. Now, obviously, when you're moving it around, it looks like it's being changed, but when it's done, when you complete the algorithm, this cube is changed and this one is changed. They're swapped. Now, you can take advantage of that. If you can see where each piece needs to go and you bring it to one of these locations to get swapped, you can do a series of swaps to eventually get it to look like this. So this is what the algorithm looks like in terms of letters. And this is what it looks like when you actually are solving it in slow-mo. Now remember, you're gonna have the white on the top, green in the front. You can change that if you want, but for us to be consistent here, that's the way I'm gonna do it. R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R. Sounds like a friggin' mouthful. And now as you'll see, those 2 pieces swapped. Everything else looks good. Just those 2 pieces swapped. Cool. My recommendation for memorizing that, you can come up with some kind of mnemonic system to represent the R and the U and the prime, whatever. But honestly, that's not gonna help you because you have other stuff to memorize later. I think the best thing to do is just to do it by rote muscle memory. Do it over and over again in your hand so that you get faster and faster. Now what helps me is I try to break up little sections and get good at that. So the first part, which is the R, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, which is kind of like the first half before you do the F prime. And I kind of get in that groove. So at first, I'm going to do it very slowly, but you notice that I can kind of slide into stuff, right? I can kind of get this kind of groove. And you got to learn that on your own, and that will help you memorize it. So break it up into small sections. Get the R, U prime, R prime, 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 and so on, until you get that. And so basically that whole first section up until the F prime is kind of like the first half. If you can get that feeling good, boom, 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 boom.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
Then you do the F. Then the second half is kind of a similar version of the first half. Then you have that F and then a final R. So it's just a matter of practicing in small bits, repeating it over and over. And then what I like to do is I get a timer and I just try to do that repetition over. I'm not even looking at the stickers. I just try to do it as fast as I can. Okay, 3.5. That's not that fast. But I have a good feeling of it. I could do it under the table, I could do it with my eyes closed, and then I have it.
So what are you actually doing?
As I said before, you're basically using that Y perm to swap pieces. There's basically what they call a buffer zone and a swap zone, we can call it. The buffer zone is going to be that top sticker. It's kind of like a protected zone. You never want to mess with it because whenever you do that algorithm, it's just going to place the piece that you had here into that corner. So then, obviously the other one is called the swap zone. That's the one that you bring to this little corner, pointing out here, so that when you do the algorithm, you know that it's gonna get put into the buffer zone. And so you can use that fact to kind of move the cube pieces around to get it to here, swap it, then move it where you want it to go, and then swap it to there, and so on. To make any sense of that, you need to have some understanding or code to memorize of what the pieces are. Since we're gonna do all of the top, all of the back, all of the front, all the sides, all the bottoms, right? That's 4 times 6 sides, that's 24 different stickers. I'm just gonna use the alphabet. The way you can do it is the top, starting with the buffer zone going clockwise, is just gonna be A, B, C, D. Then the face closest to you, the green, is gonna be clockwise again, E, F, G, H. Then on the right side, so we're going down and then around, would be I, J, K, L. Then the back, M, N, O, P, clockwise. Then the other side, Q, R, S, T. And then on the bottom, if you're looking at it clockwise, U, V, W, and X. So this is where the understanding of it can get a bit tricky. And honestly, if you really want to understand it, I'm sure there are other tutorials that explain it better. You can get by with just believing that it works. I'm telling you it works, and it works, so just do it. But if you really want to get the idea, watch another video. But my kind of stupid, dumbed down explanation is when you go to the airport. The airport is the place that takes you places, right? You get on the plane and it takes you somewhere else. But you always start at home and you end up back at home once you come back from your trip. You move yourself to the airport, and then the airport takes you somewhere else. You do your vacation, and then you want to return back home. Okay, so that's what's gonna happen with this cube, right? So when I want to swap something, I'm gonna move it to this swap zone, to the airport, basically so that the sticker I want to move goes here. And then I'm gonna do my little algorithm, my Y perm, that's my flight. And then once I've completed the vacation, I need to move that sticker back to its home.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
Yes, the Y perm is the only algorithm you need to know. There is always going to be a quote unquote setup move. And they're so simple. There are sheets that have them so you can just memorize them. But honestly, I think it's a waste of memorization. If you understand the cube, you can always spatially figure out how to get the piece you want to this swap zone, to the airport. Just so you know, right, the buffer zone is A and the swap zone is the L sticker. So let's say that I want to swap the I sticker, which is this one, right? If you're looking at the cube, it's this one, and this is L. So what would be my setup move, right? I basically have to get this sticker that's pointing out here to be here. Well, that's easy, right? It's just one of these, right? And there it is. It's now in the swap zone. I can then do that Y perm algorithm that you know to get this sticker up here. But when I do that, when I swap them, I gotta remember to do the reverse. You gotta come back home. So when I'm done doing the Y perm, I gotta move it back to I. So now this sticker is back where it belongs. Let's say I'm looking at my cube and I wanna move E. That's this front green one. What you have to remember is you can't disturb this cube. The A sticker or the buffer zone, that can't move. So if you are doing a move to set it up and you've disturbed it, that's the wrong thing. So like if I think, oh yeah, I want to get it down here, I'm gonna move. No, don't move that, because you're disturbing the buffer zone. Leave it alone. There's always a move or series of moves to get your sticker to the swap zone without touching A. So you can maybe turn it down to the bottom and then out to here. Now I know it messes everything up, but as long as you do the Y perm after and you remember to go back home, basically undo this move, then nothing changes except what you swapped. The best way to learn is by showing you an example. I'll just show you what you're supposed to do in terms of memorization, and then you have the tools to solve it. It's just a matter of putting that piece that you want to switch into the swap zone and then doing the algorithm and putting it back. However many times you need to do that based on the scramble of the cube. Look, I know it's a lot of information, but it's relatively simple, trust me. It's just a lot of things to kind of know to get started. When you start doing a few of them, you take your time and you make sure that you're seeing the cube in your head as you turn it, and you do the Y perm algorithm correctly every time, you'll get that solved cube, and then you can get faster at it and faster at it. So when you're trying to solve this particular scrambled cube, you first got to decide your orientation. So in this case, most of it is solved. So I'm gonna go with green in front, white on top. The first thing I do, and this is the approach you take to any solve, you find out which is you look in your buffer zone and you look at what the sticker is that's on the top, and you say to yourself, where does that go? And the letter of where that should go is the thing that you memorize. Okay, that's the first step, the first letter that you memorize. So I'm looking at this top piece. It's a green sticker. That doesn't mean much because obviously there's 4 possible green stickers on this face. So I look at the other ones, orange and yellow. So that tells me, and I gotta know where all the colors are, right? Orange is on the left side, yellow is on the bottom. So it's probably gonna be this green piece, right? With orange here, yellow there. Okay, so I need this green piece to be here. Now what letter is this? That's E, F, G, H. So in my mind, I memorize the letter H. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I look at the piece that is already here. So I'm going to kind of make this daisy chain of I start at the buffer zone, and then wherever that takes me, then I look at that and where does that go? And then where does that next piece go? And so I create a chain of letters that will be the thing I memorize and that I use to solve it with my eyes closed. So I have H already, and now I look at this piece. It's a red piece with blue and white. So I know that red is on the other side of green, blue is on the back, and then white is obviously on top. So that red is here, right? Which is gonna be, if I'm looking at it this way, it's the J piece. The next question is, where does this piece go? Well, look, that's the one that's at the top, right? That's the white, that's the buffer zone piece. I know that because it has a little mark on it. Some Rubik's Cubes have their logo there, and that's usually where the buffer piece is. So it's kind of like home. That's the last piece. If that's the one I land on, then there's nowhere for that to go, because when I swap it, it's gonna naturally fall back here and it's solved. That's how you know it's solved, when you kind of get this resolution. So this is a really easy solve. It's just 2 letters, H and J. Just knowing HJ will tell me, okay, I gotta put H in my swap zone, do the algorithm, then put it back, right? Remember, you're flying to the airport, you gotta come back. Then take J, put it to my swap zone, do the algorithm, and put J back, and the cube should be solved, right? So essentially, you're just doing that Y perm algorithm twice, obviously with some setup and return setup moves, and that's it. So let's do it. So the first thing I wanna do is make sure that I have the green face that I've decided is facing me and the white on the top. I remember the first letter, H, E, F, G, H. I gotta do 1 rotation to get it to that swap zone, the L, and then I do my algorithm. Okay, and then I put it back. So remember, I did 1 turn that way, I gotta do it back the other way. And there you go. The green is now solved in the front. But we have 1 more piece. Next one is J, right? Which I know is up here. and I'm gonna put that in the swap zone, which is L, and that's an easy just 2 rotations like that on the R side. And then I do my algorithm. I like to close my eyes so I can practice that feel. And then I put it back, right? Which is just 2 rotations on the R side and back the other way. And there we have it. Let's do another example, a little harder. And so that you can follow on, I want you to take your cube that's solved, okay? Make sure that the green is facing you and the white is on top. And I want you to do the following algorithm so that we can end up at the same messed up state. So we're looking at the same cube and we can memorize the same one. All right, so it's basically an R, U prime, F, L, D squared, R prime, L. So I'm gonna start figuring out what I have to memorize. So I start by looking at the sticker that's in the buffer zone, right? And it's an orange, okay? So orange, I know, goes on the left side. Let me look at the other stickers, green and white. I know that it's gonna be this front corner, right? But specifically this orange piece that's sticking out here, which if I remember is R. Remember this side is QRST, so that's R. So that's the first thing I memorize, R. All right, then I look at this piece that's in the R position, and where does that go? It's also an orange piece, but obviously it's a different corner because of the blue and the yellow, and that actually is gonna be T. Okay, that's the one that has to go down here. So I have RT, that piece, red, blue, and white, needs to go to J. That's over here. I want you to practice this. I'm gonna go through it pretty quickly, but basically then you're gonna need to put it at U, then F, then G, then K, and then P. My expertise obviously is not cubing. My expertise is memorization. So how are you gonna memorize 8 letters like that? It's just like in any of my other videos. You basically wanna turn this jumble of letters, the meaningless things you have to memorize, into something that you can picture. So the easiest thing to picture are words. And since we have letters, we can create words. I like to pair letters together so that they're manageable short chunks. So if we have 8 letters, then we have 4 little letter pairs that we gotta create a word for. Now there's different ways to approach this. Maybe the actual 2 letters is a word, or it sounds like some abbreviated word that you know. You can think of an acronym that stands for those 2 letters. Or another option is that the buffer zone, the letter A, is actually never used. You never have to memorize it, just because that's the last piece that gets put back in place automatically through the other moves that you do. So you could insert an A between the 2 letters as a fail-safe if you can't really come up with anything. So if we have RT, you could put the A between, and there you go, you have rat. Okay, the next one, JU. If I say it, Jew, it reminds me of someone who's Jewish. I might picture a rabbi. All right, so I have a rat and a rabbi. The next 2 pairs, I have FG. I instantly think of Family Guy. And when I think of Family Guy, I think of Peter Griffin. Okay, so Family Guy, Peter Griffin. Last one is KP. If I put the A between, I get the word cap. I can picture a cap. Obviously, I have to take special caution to remember that it's a K, not a C, right? Because C is actually one of our stickers. So that's okay. I'll just make that extra note that it's a cap with a big K on it. Now I have 4 distinct images there. What I do in all my other things is just link them together into a silly little story. And this is quick to do if you're just in that time that you're memorizing the cube before you close your eyes and solve it. You'll just say, okay, there's a rat and he attacks a rabbi who's reading from the Torah or whatever. And suddenly Peter Griffin comes in wearing a big cap on his head that says the letter K. That's it. And so you have RT, rat, Jew, JU, Family Guy, FG, and cap with the K, KP.
And that
Should solve your cube. Should we try it? Okay. Just watch me, I'll help you with the first few, and then we'll kind of go through it a bit quicker. So R is the first one. How do I get that piece to the L? So remember, I can't disturb this sticker. So everything I gotta move has to be kind of around it. I can't move anything that touches. All right, so R is here. That's okay, I can move F, kind of just do a 3/4 turn. There it is, I do my algorithm. And then I put it back, right? So I undo that 3/4 turn in the front. And now it's in its place. Cool. What was our next letter? Oh yeah, rat, T, right? So where is it? QRST, it's this one, right? How do I bring that to L? Well, it's easy. I can just do a bottom 3/4 turn. And then it's there, I do the algorithm again. Okay, now I put it back, I do undo that turn, and there it is. We have the 2 orange pieces now in place. Sweet. What's the next one? We have rat, and that's done. Now we have J, right? So IJ, that's this corner one here. We did that before in the previous example, just a couple of rotations there. We do the algorithm. and I put it back. And there it is, the red is there. Cool. All right, next one is U, that's on the bottom. Okay, this is seemingly difficult. How do I get this underneath piece to here? Actually, look, if you just do that, here it is. See, knowing how this spatially works, when you really understand it, it's not that difficult. I do the algorithm, and then I make sure to put it back. And there it is. Okay, look, it's kind of looking good already. All right, F. So EF, F is in the front. What could I do here? Right, so this will be a combo. Put it on the bottom and then rotate it in. Do the algorithm. Okay, rotate it back. And there it is, nice. Okay, G. Now that's a tough one because it is that corner piece where L is. So I'm gonna have to kind of like move it out of the way and then move it back in. So I can move it to the right and then rotate it. There you go. Okay, and I gotta remember how I did that, so I think I rotated, there it is, yep. Okay, look at that, we're almost there. Now we have KP, IJK, that's this one. That's just a one rotation like that. We do the algorithm. Cool, and then I rotate it back. Okay, so now P, last one, that's just one rotation like that. And there it is. Wow, wow, wow. One last tip for you guys. There are other cases that can be a little more complicated. I'm not gonna go over that right now in this video. I could be here all day talking about it, but I've given you the basics. I've gone over a couple simple situations, most of which you will encounter, and others you can probably figure out. But if you really need help, there are plenty of other videos. I'll link them in the description if you want some really in-depth videos to help you with all the cases. And yeah. Wow. Dude, that's pretty sick. All right guys, thanks for watching. I hope that was somewhat helpful. This is probably one of my longer videos just because it is something I have to show you and go through. There's a lot to it, even though it's kind of simple once you kind of get the hang of it. But people have been asking me to do a blindfolded cube solving video, and so here it is. And so maybe down the line we can do a 3x3. Anyways, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Please like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. You know that. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. Come on, guys. Let's go. Come on. You watching this video? You haven't subscribed yet? I mean, what are you doing here? What? If you're not going to subscribe, leave. Yeah. All right. I'm out.